Hello and welcome to Outlook. I'm Matthew Bannister. On today's programme, the man who's just taken a dip in the Antarctic, dressed only in skimpy swimming trunks, and the poet who's fighting to preserve the Kurdish language. But first, you've heard of Hollywood and Bollywood and even Nollywood. But what about Wakaliwood? In the Kampala suburb of Wakaliga, a company specialising in low-budget action movies is hoping to put Uganda's film industry on the map.
Commandos! Teddy the commandos! Tiger Mafia! Super Kicker! What's happening? Around!
Ramon Film Productions is the brainchild of director Isaac Nabwana. Despite shoestring budgets, his films feature car chases, helicopters, special effects and choreographed fight scenes. The DVDs sell thousands of copies on street corners in Uganda, and now with the help of a movie buff from New York called Alan Hofmanis, Isaac hopes to raise enough money to build a fully fledged studio and attract filmmakers from all over the world. When I spoke to them on the line from Kampala, Isaac told me of his lifelong obsession with action movies.
When I was a kid, I didn't know any other kind of film because, as you know, we have big names from Hollywood like Schwarzenegger, Rambo, Chuck Norris, and even Bruce Lee from China. They are big names from action movies. So I did not go to any cinema hall when I was a kid. It was my brother who used to tell me the stories about what they used to see in the cinema halls.
What, so your brother went to the cinema and then he came home and he described the plots to you?
Yeah. And I have that even up to now in my mind. I remember when they were, explaining, they were the gestures, they used to do. When they were explaining to me what was in the, let's say, Bud Spencer was a guy who used to crush people. So I used to like that.
So what were you doing when you decided to start making your own action movies?
Okay, at first, after school, I had to make bricks because I had no school fees to continue with my education. So I started making bricks and digging sand to sell to people, around here. But I went to a certain a person who had a school, and it was a journalist school, sort of, but he introduced me to Premiere Pro. And I did not have the camera, but I used to borrow from a neighbor. With that, I started, but I did not know how to write a script. But then I thought of, these drama actors, how do they do it? And then I wanted the stand because I was now, trying to find out what equipment should I use. And then we had to go for scraps, and then we build our own here. There are so many things we are building from car, scraps, like jeeps, guns, and what.
What? So you make props and things out of car parts?
Yeah. All the car parks, that's why we do. Because there are so many scrap yards here around us. They are cheap.
So what was the subject of your first film?
Okay, the first film which never came out was about, I used to call it My School Days, but it did not come out. It was about school. The second film that came out was Tebatsa Sula. It was, by that time, there were so many Nigerian movies on the market here in Uganda. So I thought of doing something like similar to Nigerians so that Ugandans can attract the attention of Ugandans.
Ramon Film Productions natenga buli job efulumya mulembe bamukusaga okimanyi tubanja olina gwobanja abakubanjize mu action tebatusasula
Coming soon! Action! Take Sarasi! Tebatusasula! Coming soon!
It is Tebatsa Sula. It is things jumped out of the house. Bewitched another person who had stolen his wife, and all his things had to jump out of his house, the chairs, the TVs, and everything. And people loved that very much,
Ramon Film Production, we do the best to stand. Your number one film company in Uganda.
Do you blow things up for real, or do you do all that on the computer?
Both. Because I can draw them on computer, that is using After Effects, which is, I think, the best in the world. And I also do them physically sometimes.
Is it dangerous?
Not very, very much dangerous. No. I don't do too much dangerous. No.
And where did the actors come from?
Actors come from all over the country. Others are nearby here. Others are coming as far from Bali, that is 150 miles away from here. Others are coming from 80 miles, that is Masaka. It's like that. People are coming. Every day they're calling me. They want to join.
And I understand that you've had some interesting experiences when you were using cow's blood for special effects. You wanted to use cow's blood to represent human blood, but that had bad consequences for some of the actors, didn't it?
Yeah, of course we used cow blood for wounds and something like that. Later on, we realized when we were doing one of the movies, one of our actors got brucella and he was treated at Lubaga Hospital. He was admitted at Lubaga Hospital. So when we knew that, then we had to change.
So you stopped using cow's blood. What do you use for blood nowadays?
Nowadays we use food colour.
Do you get bandages and other props from the local clinic?
Of course we do. Like we use condoms for blood burst. We get them from Ministry of Health. When they're supplying them here, we also get them from there.
All right. So the actor straps a condom full of food colouring to his chest, and then you burst it, and that looks like he's been shot.
Yeah. That is it. That's what I mean.
And what is your studio like? Where do you edit these films?
I edit from my home. I divided my home into a studio and a home.
But I understand sometimes your chickens wander in and out.
Yeah, chickens, even from neighborhood, they come in. That is normal here. Whatever comes here, I welcome it.
Jukira ntulengera kalankatono nyo akasinema eno The Return of Uncle Benoni gwe munange anyumyu ebina Uganda atabaramoni movie industry balese eno.
Your films are pretty violent. It's cartoon violence, of course, but are you worried that some people might find it tasteless, that in a country which has experienced so much real violence, you're making these films that in a way, maybe glorify violence?
I don't think so, because they're action comedy. There is a lot of comedy in it.
Did you witness violence yourself when you were growing up in Uganda?
At a certain point, yes, I can say yes. I witnessed somehow, because I grew up during war seasons. But I don't put that in my movies. What I saw in the past, I can even not tell it.
So it's too difficult for you to talk about. But in a way, the violence in the movies is completely different from that.
I think so, because I include comedy. During that period when I was growing up, there was no comedy in violence, which I witnessed.
How much do you spend on an average film? What's the budget for one of your films?
I've never come out with a figure of any film, because it is passion that really makes a movie here.
But would it be less than $200?
I think it can be around that.
He's holding a dangerous weapon.
How
are your films distributed? How do they get out to the viewers?
We do one man-to-man, door-to-door. It's like I talked to the actors, and we made a marketing team, and we go door-to-door all over the country to sell them.
So you made lots of films, and then one of them, Who Killed Captain Alex, went viral on the internet. Tell me about that film.
Yeah, Captain Alex is a movie I made in 2009. It is a gangster who was chased away from the town. He went into villages, and then they sent Captain Alex to look for him from the villages.
Yes, sir. Okay? Yes, sir. Action.
When they went there, Captain Alex died in the process, and then they had to bring a machinery to find out who killed Captain Alex, and also to destroy the Tiger Mafia.
Hello, ntuse mu Kampala.
I uploaded it on YouTube. I got calls all over the world, and were telling me that your movie is selling like a hotcake here.
Target confirmed.
In fact, I got calls from USA, from Sweden. There are so many people who used to call me.
So one of the people who got in touch with you as a result of seeing that trailer was Alan Hofmanis. Alan, you were in New York City, I think, when you saw Who Killed Captain Alex. Tell us what your circumstances were and how you came to see the film.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you everything. So, I was living in Manhattan, and my girl dumped me the day I bought the wedding ring. And 2 days later, a friend said we should go out, let's go to a bar. And to cheer me up, he showed me this trailer on his phone. And it was, the advert for Who Killed Captain Alex, Uganda's first action movie. And it's a 90-second long trailer. It was around 40 seconds into it where I decided I'm coming to Uganda. Just done.
Why? Why? What was it about the film that made such an impression on you?
This may sound crazy. I'm just telling you what went through my head. Now, I work in film in very different capacities. You know, when I was younger, I wanted to learn everything. So I was a cinematographer on one feature, then I was a sound mixer on another. I spent about 8 years as a program director for an international film festival, and then I worked in distribution a bit. And in the middle of this trailer, I just realized that like what I'm looking at makes no sense, but it's complete genius. But I don't understand it. I mean, they're running around with these toy guns and things. But in the West, if you have no money, you shoot two people having a conversation, or you shoot a family reunion in your parents' home upstate. You don't make a war film. This was going for it. And 2 weeks later, I showed up. I had his cell number because he puts his personal number on all the trailers. But I didn't bother calling because I'm coming. It doesn't matter.
How did you find him?
So the friend of mine who showed me it, he has an NGO here in Kampala. That first day, I'm such jet-lagged. It's my first time in Uganda. I know nothing about Africa or African. I just don't know anything. So to get my bearings, we went to the market, Owimo, which is this enormous market that's like 3 football fields. And way in a distance, this guy turns around and his back of his shirt says Ramon Film Productions. And I'm like, what? And then I realize he's selling the DVDs by hand, is going around. And then he starts leaving, and so I just start running, and I'm chasing him, and it's like we're playing football, and he's in the end zone, and I'm at the 50-yard line. Eventually, he sees that now there's 2 Mzungus, there's 2 white guys chasing him, so he starts running because he thinks maybe we're Interpol or something, and we're going to charge him for piracy when it's not. It's his own movies. But we eventually catch up, and we calm down, and I say, "Look, I'm just a fan from New York City. Can you take me to the filmmaker? Can you take me to Ramon?" And he's like, okay. So we jump on the back of a motorcycle, and like 30 minutes later, we come up here to the slum.
And what did you make of it when you first arrived in the headquarters of this studio?
There are goats everywhere. There's chickens everywhere. There can be rabbits. That's raw sewage that's going right in front of the house. And that plays actually a major role in the films because it's life here. And, the commandos can be crawling in it. And it's dust, it's heat, it's children, it's animals. And it's pure joy.
Isaac, what was your reaction when Alan turned up at your house?
When he told me that he's a friend from New York, and in fact, I had to ask him, why didn't he call me? Because my number is always there. He said that I'm a friend, I had to reach you. I want to reach you. That's when I realized that he's a true friend.
Didn't you think he was a bit mad?
No.
Well, it's a long way to go to meet somebody, isn't it, without ringing first?
Yeah, but the thing that came to me is that he's a true friend.
See, the first day when I came, I just saw Isaac, and he didn't blink. He's like, oh, from New York? No problem. And he offered me tea. We came in, and we spoke for about 5 hours. And I thought I was going to meet someone like myself, meaning a little crazy with a camera and some friends. And very quickly I realized this is not. This is the real deal. And I put him up to Guillermo del Toro and Scorsese in terms of creativity and what they're contributing to cinema.
So you think he could be the Martin Scorsese of Uganda?
He's the Tarantino, and it's Robert Rodriguez. Like the same person with Isaac can build a computer from scratch and then organize like a work team of 130 people and then teach himself After Effects and then figure out how to market and distribute the films. This is off the grid.
Isaac, what proposal did he make to you? How did he want to get involved in your business?
At first he did not. Until it's like he called me, can I be in a movie? And then I said, yes, I want you to be in this movie very much. But I did not tell him at first, though I wanted. I wanted Mzungu in the movie.
Right. Oh, you needed a white guy in the movie, did you?
Yeah, of course I needed it. Even up to now, I need this to be international. There's no reason why it is only Ugandan. It has to be international.
And now he's moved in with you and your family, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's now part of my family.
Alan, what was it like to get a part in the film?
It's you're 10 years old and wiffle bats are lightsabers. For me, it's when I was a child, I would go through my father's closet, find 2 belts of his, tie them together, and now I'm Indiana Jones, and the trees are Nazis. That's what this is that you're 10 years old again.
What did you have to do?
What did I have to do? I had to be Schwarzenegger. I didn't know that at the time. Like for me, like everyone wants to die in the movies, when you watch it. It's just because it is fun, And the first thing I said to Isaac is, in this movie, I want to die. And then he laughed and said, no, you are much too valuable alive. because, I'm the Westerner and I'm making Terminator jokes and I'm saying, like, I'll be back. I don't have time to bleed.
Hello! A new warrior on the block. Alan is sunny in action. America's best action star.
But I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an actor. I'm not, I don't know anything about kung fu or fighting. So they train me the best they can because these guys are pros. And then, of course, what do? I grab someone in the scene and we fall into the raw sewage and we start fighting there. And I'm happy. I'm fine, but it's the real thing. I mean, this is sewage. And what it turned out from that is that in some ways was kind of like my baptism here, in that they had never seen, I don't think, someone who wasn't from there behave that way. Like it was just normal to me, and let's shoot. Dude, man, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's cool.
Now you've got very big plans for the studio, and you're inviting people on to join on the internet and contribute to these plans. What are the ambitions that you've got for expansion?
Well, the ambition is the joy that I felt and the fun we have making these is to make that experience available to anyone. You can do this. You can actually become a Ugandan action movie star by not even leaving your home. And it's already happening. We were getting footage donated from Indonesia is exploding right now, and then Spain and Poland and Germany. And what these people, these fans of ours are doing, they're shooting themselves dying or as commandos, sending it to us, and then we incorporate it into the film.
So if I want to take part, I just need to get some free condoms, fill them with food colouring, strap them to my chest, and have one of my friends shoot me with a toy gun and film all that and send it to you.
We understand each other perfectly.
I'll get working. But also, you want to build an actual studio, don't you? And obviously, to get work out of Isaac's home and into a purpose-built building.
Yeah, because we need to. We don't even have a place for costumes and props and the guns and things. And plus, Isaac wants to build a Cambodian village and destroy it in a Vietnam movie. We need a little land for that. And because the films are done so cheaply, a film with like a $5,000 budget, I think would be one of the biggest Ugandan films ever made.
But isn't there a danger that if you get a big budget, then all of a sudden the qualities that make these films so raw and so rough will disappear?
That was one of my first thoughts. But then what quickly came to my head is if Steven Spielberg, if you have a 12-year-old who's making a feature film on Super 8 and it's great, you don't say to them, okay, you're doing Super 8 for the rest of your life. No, if they're good at this, feed them. Throw some kerosene on the bonfire. And what I think is that you give them what they want, and what they want is just faster computers, man. Get them like, what would Isaac do with a real helicopter?
Isaac, what's your ambition? What would be a major success for you? What would you like to do if money was no object?
I think it is making Wakaliga a big studio that can be used by anyone in the whole world.
Isaac, if I were to get on a plane and come out to Kampala, would you be able to find a role for me, do you think, in one of your movies?
I tell you, if you come today, I can also put you in a script, which I'm working on right now.
Excellent. What would you see me as? Just on the sound of my voice, how would you cast me?
You deserve to die.
Thank you very much.
Matthew Bannister, Super Kung Fu Master. What's a BBC Outlook? Now look out!
It's a whole new career opening up for me. You may never hear me again. Isaac Nabwana and Alan Hofmanis. Do look at our Facebook page because you can see photos from their film sets right there. Lots of support for the filmmakers from Uganda. Kasim Kintu, a Ugandan living in Finland, says, "This is an amazing story coming from Uganda. Go, Isaac. It's innovations like these that we need." And Ricciardo Obonipe says, "I think they're doing something remarkable for the country."